1887 John Layton Jarvis becomes first British racehorse trainer to be knighted for services to racing. In 1918 Montreal's Georges Vezina becomes the first NHL goalie to record an assist during the Canadiens' 6-3 win over the Toronto Arenas. In 1934 first ever women's cricket international begins England vs Australia in Australia. In 1938 Paul Gibb scores 106 on Test cricket debut v South Africa. In 1940 cricketer Arthur Morris scores 111 in second innings of first game after 148. In 1944 former Wash third baseman Buddy Lewis wins Distinguished Flying Cross. Richard 8-point game first 1944 Montreal right-wing Maurice Rocket Richard becomes first player in NHL history to score 8 points in one game, with 5 goals and 3 assists in the Canadiens' 9-1 win over the Detroit Red Wings. In 1940, 7 Chic Cards beat Philadelphia Eagles 28-21 in NFL Championship game. In 1947 National Football League Championship, Comiskey Park, Chicago Cardinals beat Philadelphia Eagles 28-21, Cardinals' only title victory. In 1951 Davis Cup men's tennis, White City, Sydney, Frank Sedgman outclasses Vic Seixas 6-4, 6-2, 6-2 in the deciding rubber as Australia beats US 3-2 in Sydney to retain cup. In 1952 National Football League Championship, Cleveland Municipal Stadium, Detroit Lions beat Cleveland Browns 17-7. 1954 43rd Davis Cup, USA beats Australia in Sydney 3-2. 1955 44th Davis Cup, Australia beats USA in New York 5-0. 1957 46th Davis Cup, Australia beats USA in Melbourne 3-2. In 1957 CBS says it will not broadcast baseball games in markets where minor league games are being played. 1958 the greatest game ever played. Baltimore Colts win the 26th NFL Championship against the NY Giants 23-17 at Yankee Stadium in the first sudden death overtime game in NFL history, with 17 future members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame involved. 1960 49th Davis Cup, Australia beats Italy in Sydney 4-1. 1961 50th Davis Cup, Australia beats Italy in Melbourne 5-0. 1962 51st Davis Cup, Australia beats Mexico in Brisbane 5-0. In 1963 Davis Cup men's tennis, Adelaide, American Chuck McKinley beats Australia's John Newcombe 10-12, 6-2, 9-7, 6-2 in the deciding rubber to give US a thrilling 3-2 victory. In 1963 Scottish Lotus driver Jim Clark wins his record 7th Grand Prix of the F1 season, the South African event at Prince George Circuit, first Scotsman to win the World Drivers' Championship. In 1965 Ballon d'Or, Benfica striker Eusebio Bio wins award for Best European Football Player, first Portuguese national to win, and still only Benfica player. In 1965 Davis Cup men's tennis, Sydney, John Newcombe Tony Roche beat Just Luis Arilla Manuel Santana of Spain 6-3, 4-6, 7-5, 6-2 to give Australia an unassailable 3-0 lead, ends 4-1. 1966 55th Davis Cup, Melbourne, Australian Roy Emerson beats Ramanathan Krishnan of India 6-0, 6-2, 10-8 for an unassailable 3-1 lead, ends 4-1. 1967 56th Davis Cup, Australia beats Spain in Brisbane 4-1. 1968 57th Davis Cup, USA beats Australia in Adelaide 4-1. In 1971 Ballon d'Or, Ajax forward Johan Cruyff wins award for Best European Football Player ahead of Inter forward Sandro Mazzola and Manchester United winger George Best, first Dutch national and Ajax player to win award. 1974 4th Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma State beat 17 BYU, 16-6. 1975 the Hail Mary, with 32 seconds left in the NFC Divisional Playoff Game, Cowboys quarterback Roger Staubach throws a legendary 50-yard winning touchdown pass to Drew Pearson to defeat the Minnesota Vikings, and the Hail Mary play gains national recognition. In 1975, Gary Cosier scores 109 v West Indies at MCG on Test cricket debut. In 1975, in the aftermath of the Cold War, the New York Rangers become first team in NHL history to face a touring Soviet hockey squad. Soviet Army beats the Rangers 7-3 at Madison Square Garden. In 1976, Ballon d'Or, Bayern Munich defender Franz Beckenbauer wins title of Europe's best football player for a second time, beats Anderlecht winger Rob Rensenbrink and Daka Prague goalkeeper Ivo Viktor Islander's 30th hat-trick. 1978 30th hat-trick in NHL New York Islander franchise history, scored by Mike Bossy. In 1982, Ballon d'Or, Juventus striker Paolo Rossi is named Best European Football Player, beats Bordeaux midfielder Alain Giress and Juventus Polish midfielder Zbigniew Bonik. 1983 72nd Davis Cup, Australia beats Sweden in Melbourne 3-2. 1986 75th Davis Cup, Australia beats Sweden in Melbourne 3-2, helped by Pat Davis ranked 412th in the world. In 1990 Blockbuster Bowl 1, Florida State beats Penn State 24-17. 1991 8 are crushed to death at a RAP basketball game at City College, Nick. In 1991 Blockbuster Bowl 2, Alabama beats Colorado 30-25. In 1993 Ballon d'Or, Juventus Italian striker Roberto Baggio is named Europe's best football player ahead of Inter forward Dennis Bergkamp and Manchester United striker Eric Cantona. Boone makes it 20. 1994 David Boone completes his 20th Test cricket century 131 v England, MCG. In 1996 India all out for 66 at Durban after making 100 in cricket first innings. In 2008 Detroit Lions crashed to a 31-21 loss to the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, the first team in NFL history to go winless in a 16-game season. In 2013 Chris Weidman defeats Anderson Silva to retain the UFC middleweight championship. In 2018 UFC bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes of Brazil moves up in weight and KO's dominant featherweight Chris Cyborg Justino just 51 seconds into the opening round at the Forum in Inglewood, Car. First female to win UFC titles in multiple weight classes. 2019 49th Fiesta Bowl College Football Playoff Semifinal. Clemson beats Ohio State 29-23. 2019 52nd Peach Bowl College Football Playoff Semi.